Currently out here bow hunting javelina. It's January 9th. It's my third day out. I just finished another failed stock. Saw them, got on them, tried to evolve them. They are, you can see there's just a little dusting of snow up there in the mountains. Something we don't get every day in this part of the world, so it's kind of neat to see. So here I am ending my day with a southern Arizona snowstorm. The javelina do not seem to be particularly fond of this kind of weather. I don't think I'm particularly fond of it either. So I'm wrapping up my 5th day of javelina hunting. I only have a half day to hunt today. But today is the only day I did not see any javelina, so it's a little disappointing. But I think the area I'm hunting is just a little too high pressured, so I'm going to try somewhere else tomorrow. Alright, so right now there's a very good coos deer buck, 71 yards right up in front of me. He's watching a group of 4 does. I jumped the does, and they kind of settled down because the wind's in my favor. They can't smell me, but he's standing there watching those does. I don't think he knows I'm here. But I'm 71 yards from a very nice buck. I don't think I have any way to close the distance, but it's cool to see anyway. We'll see what happens. The does that got me pegged, they don't know quite what I am, but they know I'm here, so they're like staring in my direction. I don't think he knows I'm here, but he's just staring at them. So I think he's watching those does. It is January in Arizona, so that's the whitetail rut. Although I'm hunting javelina, I also have an archery deer tag. It'd be really cool to take this buck, but pretty unlikely I can close the distance, especially if those does haven't been pegged down. Alright, so that didn't work out, but it was entertaining. So I closed the distance a little bit, but they kept moving away from me. There were 4 does and a buck. Obviously one of them is an estrus, and he's kind of interested in her. So 3 of them finally moved off. He was still there, so I kept moving closer. And then I noticed one doe was still there, and she kind of had me pegged. So she kind of had me pinned down for a while. And eventually she put up her tail and left. The buck followed her. So I came out here looking for another place to hunt javelina. Didn't really find a lot of javelina sign, or a lot of area that lended itself well to my hunting style, but did get a little stalk on some deer there. So I've had 3 unsuccessful stalks in javelina so far this hunt. I'm not taking any time off to do it, so I'm just trying to, got the whole month, but I'm trying to do it here in my free time. So I got a few more days this month that I can get out here. So hopefully I can get on some javelina again. But that was fun to have a little stalk on a deer. Wish I would have seen that deer in my rifle hunt. That was a nice buck. I've never really been that great of a bow hunter. I like to hunt, but my effective range with the bow is not very far. So the likelihood of me getting close enough to a coos buck with my bow in open country is pretty slim. But it was fun to try anyway. So here we have a little javelina sign. This is what I like to look for when I'm out looking for areas javelina live in. They like to root like this, so they dig up little roots and tubers in the ground. And if you find an area with a lot of this stuff in there, that's a good indication that javelina are living in the area. Right here you can see an old bedding site. And over here we got some old scat. It was all up here under a juniper tree. I tend to like to bed in places like this. So in a new area this morning. So far no javelina, just seen a bunch of white-tailed does. The area I'd been hunting is just getting too much hunting pressure, so I had to give up on that area. There's got to be some javelina in here, but so far I haven't seen any. Found some scat here. Might be javelina. And it's still wet, so it's pretty fresh. Right here looks like some scat. Walk up here, we got some more rooting signs. So they live in here. If you look around, it's pretty hard to glass them up in this kind of grass. Here we have what looks like a javelina track. Alright, so something a little neat just happened. Find this javelina sign in here. So I started calling with my predator call, because I've had javelina come into those before. And I was calling for a few minutes. And I looked behind me, through the bush there was a coyote staring at me. So I managed to call him a coyote. And I think I got a little bit of him on film. But he was sitting there staring at me for like right at about 32 yards, and he just stared at me for a good several minutes before he finally left. He didn't leave until I tried to move and get a better look at him. But that was neat. Alright, here we got some more javelina sign. There's some scat, a lot of tracks. Looks like we got a little pig run here. And there's some javelina tracks. Alright, so I just spotted two javelina kind of way out there. They're under that tree, then they just went up over the ridge. This is the last morning I have the hunt. I have a few evenings left, but this is the last morning I have the hunt, and I did just spot two, so that's a good sign. So here's where those two javelina went, and that is private property. So I'm about 200 yards from private property boundary. So you can tell they spend some time in this area. Here's a little bit of sign, some scat, and a little sign of rooting. Here I found a little shed. It's like a little whitetail shed, I think. So here's some more javelina sign. And here's some more javelina sign. It's not real fresh, but you can tell that they shredded a lot of this. Well, I glassed a small group of pigs coming into this draw, and I was a long way away from it. So by the time I got here, though, they're long gone. So they were moving when I saw them. So they gave me the slip. Actually, I believe that was my 5th failed stalk of this whole hunt. Had the entire month of January to hunt. But I'm only glassing these guys up when they're moving. I've never seen them when they're feeding. It's really hard to get ahead of them when they're moving from point A to point B. A lot of people always talk about javelina being easy to hunt. And relatively speaking, they're pretty easy to get close to. However, that's all dependent on you being able to find them. And that's usually the hardest part of javelina hunting, just find them in the first place. Alright, so I'm back at my glassing location now. Where I spotted those javelina was way out there, probably about 900 yards. They were moving when I saw them, and I got over there where I last saw them, and they were nowhere to be found. So I think they were moving the whole time I was, so I never caught up to them. southern Arizona snowstorm. Well, so far no javelina today. Did see a mule deer herd. And got to see some snow. It is now sunset on the last day of the hunt, and no javelinas have been sighted today. So I had a few opportunities this hunt, but none of them worked out. So no javelina for me this year.